Hey guys, Danny Gusson with Danny Gusson Fitness Podcast here with my cousin, Jennifer Daughter.
Yep.
Right? So Jennifer is a very passionate person, and she's passionate about a lot of different things, and we get into that today. So here's a few things we spoke about. Jennifer has a background as a physical therapist assistant. Got to clarify that one. Jennifer got into that when she was 45. She's had her own experience with menopause, osteoporosis, and just how that's impacted her life. Somewhere along the line, she got really excited to explore strength training. She actually works with a personal trainer here on our staff, Josh Romero, and it's been a completely mind-blowing experience and life-changing.
Yeah.
In the sense that, to the degree that she has left her work as a physical therapist assistant and is going to become certified as a personal trainer and specialize in working, at least as we see it right now. Who knows where the journey will take it, but she's particularly passionate about working with women who are of age of menopause to deal with things like osteoporosis and have that fear of weight training. And so she has some really exciting insights, some powerful insights on what that journey has been like for her, where she plans to take her experiences in education and wrap it all into one to really change lives. So I think you guys are going to really love this, and I had such a great time being with you today, so thank you. Thanks, guys. Hey, cuz.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
I'm excited to have you on, so we'll just go right into that. So
Okay.
there are a few things I would really love to explore with you because these are things I know about you. I think they're really, really cool parts of your story that I think a lot of people could benefit from. So that is, well, one, you're my cousin. That's the coolest part, right? So you're my cousin. You became a physical therapy assistant in your mid-40s. You've had your own journey with menopause and osteoporosis.
Mm-hmm.
And around the time of your mid-50s, you began working with one of our trainers, Josh, because you were very intrigued about the benefits of strength training, right? And since then, it's been such a cool journey for you that you're actually now studying to become a certified personal trainer.
That is right.
So all of those things are amazing, and any one of those things could be extremely interesting to get into. So the question is, where do you want to start?
I don't know. That's a lot.
We could go linear and just start with the physical therapy assistant.
Yeah, and I'm going to be picky. It's physical therapist assistant.
There we go. You heard it here.
That was actually, anyway. Yes, so it's physical therapist assistant. And I think, when I was thinking about ideas to talk with you today, like I said when I messaged you, it seems like all of these changes or new starts have happened for me in midlife, which, sometimes people think, well, I can't do anything new after a certain point.
Yeah.
So I'm here to say you can. So yeah, the physical therapist assistant thing, I think I was 45 when I started school for that.
And would you mind real quick explaining to those who don't know what it is, what a physical therapist assistant is?
Absolutely.
Because some people maybe get the tech thing in their head, but it's so much more than that.
Right. So it is
the tech is not a great job too.
Tech is a great job. We need our techs. But the physical therapist assistant is a degree. It is an associate's degree. It is also a license. So I am a licensed physical therapist assistant.
Okay.
So you need the associate's degree. You need to pass a licensure exam. And basically what PTAs can do, I would say that we can do 90 to 95%, depending on your state, of what a PT can do, what a DPT can do.
It's amazing.
So the PTs do the initial evaluation, they do the diagnosing, they set up the plan of care, and then the PTAs can do, we've got free reign basically to do anything within that plan of care that the PT set up.
Okay.
So
Whereas the tech has to basically just say,
the
here's what you
tech,
told me, this is what I
yes,
do.
a tech is like a high school degree. Like
Yeah.
usually when we hire techs, it's going to be, somebody who's thinking about going into PT school or some sort of, health fitness background.
Yeah.
But they have to do what we tell them to do.
Yeah.
So there's no, like a PT is not going to tell me what I have to do. I can work within that plan of care.
That's
Now, will we
awesome.
check in and kind of talk about our patients together? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of the physical therapy world is that kind of
Collaboration, right?
absolutely, yeah, it's so cool. So with the patient and the other therapists too. So that's the PTA in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I have a outpatient orthopedic background, so
Okay.
that was where I worked for.
And what made you
10
want to
years.
get into that?
So I was actually training for a sprint triathlon, and I hurt my hip, and I had never had PT before. 42, 43 years old, never had PT before. Didn't have any idea kind of what it was. So went to my doctor, checked out the hip. They're like, just go to PT. So I went to PT and I loved it. I thought my PT was awesome. She was a young woman. And I loved the relationship, working on these goals together. And it was great. And so I thought, well, how do you get into this?
Yeah.
So I asked her, like, so what's a PT degree? Is it like a bachelor's degree? And she's like, no, it's a DPT now. And I thought, well, I'm too old for that.
Good old 7 years, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to I don't have a hard science background with my bachelor's degree. So I just didn't want to do that. And then I found out about the PTA degree and it was a perfect fit. So, and there was a really great school in Omaha where we were living at the time.
Okay.
And
Forget. Yeah, that's where you were before
we
you
were
moved back to
Omaha.
Naperville. That's
Yep,
right.
yep. So we were in Omaha and really good little school. And I got in and here we are.
Here we are. So you work as a physical therapist assistant for
10 years.
10 years, right? And then so what were some of the highs and what were some of the lows of that experience? Because obviously you're not doing that anymore. So I assume that's for some reasons,
Yeah.
right?
And I think maybe, or I know that Dr. Joe touched on a little bit of maybe why he went into private practice.
Yes. Yep.
And some of those reasons are why I found working in the kind of the corporate PT clinic, kind of why that was frustrating for me. The things I love about PT are the educational components, and you'll find things that relate to personal training as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
The educational component, I'm teaching my patients about their injury, their surgery, their recovery, the whole thing. Love that.
Yeah.
The collaboration, working on goals together. What do you want to accomplish? Why do we need to work on this? Because you want to pick up your grandkids, like because you want a 5K, you want to get back to this with that, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just watching my patients meet their goals, discharging, like a good discharge, you're like, oh, this is so
Yeah,
awesome.
where you know they're going to be like
Yes,
going on
absolutely.
and taking life by the
So
horns.
that's what I love about being a PTA. The hard stuff is, just like the insurance battle. Insurance in this country is it's a situation.
Yeah.
Work comp is a whole nother, that could be a whole discussion about work comp. Not in this realm, but work compensation is, that's rough. Like, I want to treat patients, not be on the phone with case managers and, case review and, fighting and pulling, trying to get the care, excuse me, the care that my patients need.
Yeah.
So that was a real battle. And then just, the productivity requirements and kind of that from corporate on down.
Yeah.
When again, I just want to work for
Just
my
want to help
patients.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not one-on-one for the hour, which I would like to have my patients and be one-on-one with my eyes on them the whole time. I didn't love handing them off to a rehab aide. So those were some of the frustrating things I found with the corporate PT world.
Yeah.
And as a PTA, the only way for me to go into practice for myself, I have to have a PT. Like, I could own my own clinic, but I have to have a PT.
Okay, on
So,
staff. Yeah,
on staff. They don't have to be in the clinic with me all the time, but they have to be on staff.
I
I
see.
can't work as a PTA without a PT,
Makes sense. So it's a little limiting in
right?
that way.
Because obviously I can't do the initial evaluations on and on. So, I, sat down with my husband and I was like, here's what I'm thinking. And he was frankly kind of tired of hearing me complain about my job.
Uh,
So here we are. Here we
yeah.
are. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And so, what was the thing that spurred you? Like, what was your catalyst, your moment of inspiration? I'm sure there may have been several where you eventually decided, okay, you're having this journey with menopause, osteoporosis. Well, let's take a step back and talk about that for a moment, right? When were you diagnosed with osteoporosis?
Last year.
Last year. Okay.
So I'd been working with Josh, a trainer here, personal trainer here, for about a year.
Okay.
And so I'm 57. I started working with Josh when I was 55. So working with him, really enjoying lifting heavy stuff.
Isn't that awesome?
Learning that, yeah, not being afraid of it. And this is what happened. I went for a bone density scan on the because my primary care provider wanted me to do that. And waiting for the results, working with Josh, did a PR 1 rep max deadlift, go to my doctor.
Yeah.
You have osteoporosis, not
Yeah.
osteopenia, not,
Yeah.
you have osteoporosis.
Yeah, you're right there.
You're there.
Yeah.
And it was devastating to me. I went from a person who, I'm not a hypochondriac, I'm not afraid to try stuff. I feel strong and healthy in my body. And all of a sudden, what am I? Like, am I a 55, 56-year-old woman who's 56 who is now, do I have to be afraid of things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeble and
Am I,
yeah.
and I don't feel feeble, but
Yeah.
can I do yoga? Can I do barbell squats? Without, crushing my vertebrae, this whole thing.
Yeah.
So that was really scary for me. And my doctor kind of talked me down. And then I just kind of did my own, my own research. And we know that we need to do weight bearing stuff. We need to do resistance training with osteoporosis.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got scared.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now we're working back up to it with Josh. So
And when do you rescan, right? Because I have a client who has osteopenia right now, and I think she was talking her next is like in a year. I think they had her checked, and then it was a year. Now that's osteopenia, not porosis. So
Yeah.
when are you getting that reevaluated?
So I am also taking Fosamax.
Okay.
Which
Makes sense.
right. So which I didn't want to do because you do your research and you can be scared with the side effects from Fosamax. Again, I've got a great nurse practitioner, and she talked me down from that too. And she's like, keep lifting weights, keep walking, do these things, eat calcium-rich foods,
Yeah.
take your Fosamax, and we're going to rescan you in 2 years. So I think this year I'm going to have another bone scan. So I think it's every 2 years. And then you don't take Fosamax forever. I think you take Fosamax for like 5 years.
Okay, just enough to bolster you,
Hopefully.
and then
Yeah, hopefully.
hopefully your lifestyle can kind of take you from there.
Hopefully. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
So that's interesting because you said that when I was reviewing the notes, some of the things you shared with me, I wasn't sure where was what, right, in the personal training journey versus the osteoporosis, menopause, right? Because those are two things you're very passionate about and things you want to take with you eventually when you enter. But I was like, was the menopause, osteoporosis stuff first? Was that the catalyst for the personal training, right? So what was the initial catalyst to start working with the trainer, with Josh?
right. So if we go, you're going to leave. I don't know if you want to talk about menopause this much, but here we go. So
I do want to talk about it.
I think I started with perimenopause when I was in my late 30s.
Which perimenopause
That
is when
starts
you're leading into menopause. Your body's starting to
perimenopause.
prepare,
I
right?
started having night sweats, which are super fun. So, and I didn't know what was
Women,
going on.
man.
I'm telling
Seriously, you guys
it's
are amazing.
insane.
The stuff you have to go through.
So, and it's just the hormones start fluctuating. So, in my late 30s. So, and I didn't know
Whoa.
it was going late 30s.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty early, right?
it's pretty early.
What would that average be? Early mid 50s or something like that?
I would say late 40s,
Late
early
40s,
50s,
early
and
50s. Okay.
everybody's different, and it depends on what your mother, grandmother went through, things
Sure.
like that. So, but I didn't know what it was because I was in my late 30s, right? So why would I think that it was menopause? I thought I'm just a hot sleeper.
Yeah.
So, I'll skip a lot of it, but when we moved here, 10 going on 11 years ago, I was done. So I was menopause done. And so, yeah, God, isn't that crazy? 11 years ago, and I'm 57.
Yeah. So it
Which,
went
if,
from like late 30s to mid 40s, basically?
yeah.
Okay.
So had I
It's
known,
crazy.
and had I had a good primary care doctor when we moved here, she would have had me do a bone scan then. Because when you're done, when you stop your period, that is estrogen's really low, and that's where you get a lot of your bone density from.
Yeah.
And once estrogen's gone, then the bones don't get what they need. So I should have had a bone density test like
Right in your mid
after,
40s.
yeah, yeah. And absolutely when I moved here or when I turned 50, I should have had a baseline.
Okay.
And I did not. So I got a new primary care provider, and she's like, "Oh, when was your last period?" And I told her, and she's like, "Yeah, we need to do this."
No kidding.
So that's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
So menopause. And then I just knew, like, the more I started learning about resistance training, I had worked out before, but I did the machines and I ran and I biked and I swam and these things, but I never did weight training, resistance training, because it's intimidating for me.
For a lot of
And
women.
for
A lot of women.
a lot of, yeah. I mean, I never thought, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to use a barbell. Like, what the heck? I don't know how to do a barbell. I'll
Yeah.
play around with the machines and like some kettlebells maybe and some dumbbells, but not a lot. So I just been doing, reading and learning about things. And then my gym closed. I come here and I'm like, gosh, my cousin is a personal trainer and has a business. Maybe I should look into working with a personal trainer. And she set me up with Josh, and it's
been a great fit.
been a great fit. And I love it. The personal training is fantastic, and it makes me feel, if we take even the osteoporosis and the menopause out of it, it just makes me feel strong and confident. The weight training, the resistance training. And then you learn about the benefits, more about the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
For bone density, for keeping our muscles strong as we age. And then we think, I want other women to feel this way. As a PTA working in the clinic, and I would tell my patients my age, oh, I'm
Yeah.
working with a trainer. Oh, I can't do weights. I can't do heavy weights. Or I don't want to, or I don't want to get bulky,
Yeah.
or, oh, I'm doing Pilates and yoga. I'm like, it's not, Pilates and yoga are great, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Just different tools.
It is. Like, keep that in your routine, but then go lift some heavy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so all of this is kind of like I'm swirling around, but you know how my brain works.
Oh, but
This is
pretty easy to
where, like, I'm
follow.
working with Josh, and then I get this osteoporosis diagnosis, and I'm in menopause, and then I'm reading more and more about the benefits of resistance training. And I know that I talk to women who are my age who are intimidated or afraid or don't think they need this type of exercise, but you do. And take it from me. Look at me. Here I am.
Yeah.
I've got all the things,
Yeah.
and I'm doing the resistance training,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Now, you mentioned that there are some things that have just made you feel, again, osteoporosis, menopause aside, there's these things that have just made you feel confident. What are some of those things?
Oh my gosh, like doing barbell squats. Like, who would ever think that I
Yeah.
could do a barbell squat with like the big plates on the side?
You would.
I know. I mean, the first time I did a hex bar, lift
Yeah.
with the 45s on either side. It's like, oh, what the heck?
So you did the hex bar deadlift with 45s on each side.
Yeah.
So that's 140 pounds, people, for those
Yeah.
who don't know.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
and
That is
then,
awesome.
and then, barbell bench presses and, things like that. Like, wow. And then Josh still makes me do the Bulgarian split squats and
Your favorite?
the wall sits and
Yeah.
the stuff that you love to hate. But yeah, like actually doing the deadlifts with the plates on the barbell, like you think, I never thought I'd be able to do that.
That's so
And
awesome.
here we go. Yeah. So it's just, it just is a great feeling, I think, well, at least for me, for a woman who thought, well, I can just do the kettlebells or I'm just going to do the machines.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do this. And it feels great.
I love that. Yeah, it's frustrating at times, and this is something I've talked about before, is this idea that, you mentioned these women, they're like, oh, I can't do that. Because a lot of the times people have this misconception that working with a trainer means, or even strength training, take training aside, right? Just doing strength training is this idea of you're attempting to become a power lifter or bodybuilder, right? Something grandiose and extreme. It's like, no, that's a very, very small percentage of people who strength train, probably less than 1%, right? The rest of us are just trying to improve our quality of life. Or to your point, one of the things that I love the most, it's up there at the tippy top of what I love about what I do is you can give people hope, right? You can give people a sense of control in their life, right? Because there's so many things we don't have control over, right? Aging is one of those things, right? We're all going to age,
We are.
right? We all, and there's going to be consequences to that, right? But there are things we can do just to take back that control, right? And, again, to have an area of your life where you can say, hey, I might do one more rep today, but it's one more rep. It's more than last time, or one more
Absolutely.
pound. It's that
Yeah.
thing that you can say, of all these other areas that are outside my control, I can do this. I'm putting in the work, and here's the result, right? I love that feeling.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to that
Yeah.
feeling.
Well, and I know Josh too. Like, I told Josh I'm going to get him a T-shirt that says, I believe in you.
That's
Because
awesome.
he'll do something. He'll go, okay, I want you to do this with this weight. And I'll kind of like, and he goes, I believe in you. I'm like, all right. And
taglines.
that's one of my favorite things he says. And then the other thing is he'll have me do something, or he'll say, okay, this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I'll look at him sideways again. And then I'll do it. And I say to myself, I did it.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'll say that out loud. And he's like, yes.
Yes.
This is my shocked face. Like
Yeah.
this, yes, you did do it because you've been working up to this.
That's awesome.
And you can do it. The other thing that
So he has a shirt that says "I believe in you,"
I
and
want
you have
him
a
to
shirt
have
that says "I
I
did
did
it."
it. Yeah, I'll have him.
We all have our
I'll have him
tagli-
tattoo it up.
Yes, we all have our taglines. In fact,
Yes.
it's funny you say that. One of my clients got me a shirt for Christmas or my birthday or something like that. And it's a shirt that says, "You got this."
Yeah.
Because I apparently say that a lot. And so we've kind of learned, we all have Nico
Yes.
has his. Nico's is nice. It's different.
Nice.
It's different emphasis for different nices,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but we all got our things. But that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just it's a feeling of empowerment. Like, look what I did. So maybe you can translate that to other areas of your life because you're able to do, a 65-pound barbell bench press.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 8 reps or whatever you did. So
I love that because and that's why I use the word hope, because I think hope is kind of like wildfire, right? It has that potential to just start to burn into those other areas of your life where you're like, yeah, this is an area I'm achieving. I have victory and I'm accomplishing things, and I look at what my hard work is accomplishing, right? What if I applied this here? What if I applied that there? Where the inverse of that, it's like, yikes, right? When you lack hope, that it's that same almost contagious effect into other areas of your life. And, we've all been probably on different sides of that. And I think it's pretty safe to say that being in the camp of having that empowerment, that hope, that confidence in your life is a way, way better feeling.
Yep.
So somewhere along the line, that fire burns up in you, right? And
Yep.
you decide, when did you decide I am going to make the shift to starting to study for my certified personal trainer certification?
It had kind of been in my mind for, this is February. So I signed up for the program in like October, November last year. And
Like 2023, right?
last year, 24.
Training year?
No, signed
Oh.
up for,
Oh.
I'm sorry, for the CPT.
Yes, for the
Yeah,
CPT. Gotcha.
through NASM.
Okay, following.
Last year. And because I just was enjoying working with Josh and then keeping, doing the PTA, which, I loved. I loved that. It just changed. So I thought, well, let me still work with people in a healthcare and now fitness setting so I can still use that passion that I have.
Yeah.
But let me do it in a little bit different way. So I'm going to take the test on Tuesday. Signed up
Hey,
for the test.
there we
So,
go.
yeah,
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. So there's that. So there's the personal training. So and the other thing is I have a few of my former colleagues who have left the corporate PT world and started their own practices, like Joe did.
Yeah.
And one of them is one of her specialties is pelvic floor therapy,
Okay.
which is mainly women, but men can use it as well.
Sure. Plenty of men out there who piddle too much after they're done urinating and
and
have
it's
to do too much laundry because
and
of
think
it.
of
They benefit from it.
post-surgical stuff and things like that too. And I could go, I won't because it's not my specialty, but pelvic floor is not just pelvic floor. It's hip, low back, core, like it's way more than you think it is. Trust me.
Yeah, one of my clients worked, she had diastasis rectus abdominis.
Yes.
And so, for those who don't know, it's basically just the lining between your six pack. Part of what makes it the six is the three on either side and the split down the middle. It splits pretty wide, too wide, right? And it doesn't go back to normal. So, anyways, she had this whole pamphlet given to her by a physical therapist, Pilates instructor slash pelvic floor specialist. And it was like she defined it as the diaphragm is the roof, the pelvic floor is the foundation, and like the transverse abdominis and abs obliques are like the house itself.
Yeah.
Right. So you need all of those components to really have a optimized.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it encompasses breathing and it's huge. So my friend, works with women in that area. She does outpatient ortho and she does all the things too, but that's one of her specialties. So I was talking to her
Cool.
and she's like, hurry up and hurry up and do this.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't need a PTA to work with her because she's one of the reasons that she just wants to do it herself. And I get it. I would too if I was a PT.
Yeah.
So she's like, hurry up and get this, this certification.
Yeah.
Because I want someone to send my pelvic floor patients to when they're finished with me.
Yeah.
Because they need to keep resistance training.
Yeah.
And Kush, my friend, she's a real fitness forward PT. Like she's got her patients like Joe does in a gym doing deadlifts and squats and all the things.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I would recommend her to anybody. So I started like, I can do this. And then the more I did some research about it, there are special certifications for menopause, working with women who are menopausal, working with like a pelvic floor specialty within the realm of a certified personal trainer.
Yeah.
And then I've got a side interest in working with people with Parkinson's, which we can talk about more at a later time probably. But if we're just talking about like personal one-on-one training, that's kind of where I was. I talked to her and then my experience and just wanting to get more women feeling comfortable in the gym.
Yeah. It makes total sense. I mean, it's like the convergence of all these different factors of, your journey through being a physical therapist assistant, all of those things, right? And you're bringing it all full circle and just helping women just like you.
And then I can
And
work,
spreading that wildfire, right?
and then I can work one-on-one for an hour with somebody.
And you
now
get the whole hour.
And I get the whole hour. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so why do you think it is that I believe, in my experience, physical therapists who are fitness forward, is that what you said? Fitness forward? I like that term. Physical therapists who are fitness forward, I don't find that as common, right? A lot of the times, I've always been pleasantly surprised and excited when a client's been working with a physical therapist in the area, and I've always been of the mind that, hey, we're a team. Well, I don't want to step on your toes at the bare minimum, and if there's something I can be doing to complement what you're doing, then great, even better, right? And so why wouldn't we want to work as a team in this kind of physical medicine paradigm, right? And so, but that isn't, I think there's a lot of PTs in my experience that haven't been as keen on what happens once the insurance runs out or the physical therapy runs out. So I love hearing about stories like, Dr. Joe, my friend Dr. Jerry Robles.
I know Jerry.
You know Jerry?
I used to work with Jerry.
Oh, did we ever talk about this?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I worked with Jerry.
Yeah.
He's an excellent physical therapist.
Yeah, Jerry actually, he started his own thing a couple of years ago. He actually reached out to me to network with me, and I'm actually going to be on his podcast this
sent
Saturday.
John to him.
Did you?
Yeah, I sent my husband to see Jerry because I knew it would be a good fit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't mess around. He's just like, yeah.
That's what I love about Jerry, actually, is that he has this confidence that sometimes it's like this thing that you're thinking is such a big deal, and he just simplifies it. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he's great.
yeah, I think that's you were talking about earlier, this taking off your physical therapist assistant hat and becoming a personal trainer. The underlying theme there is being a teacher. The underlying theme
Absolutely.
is a coach, right? That's that essence that you can take with you to different things. And I think he's got that down where it's just like hey, I'm the coach. He felt much more like a coach to me as a physical therapist. And so why do you think it is that there's certain physical therapists who are excited to go beyond the walls of the physical therapy and go on into fitness, and some aren't?
Well, let's look at it two ways. So,
Because I've met like 20 different PTs, and I'm sure you have, and we just mentioned the 3
yes.
who are actually eager
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah. And I know more. So I will say, when you're in like the outpatient ortho, we get a fair amount of post-surgical, hip replacements, shoulder replacements, rotator cuff. And then you get your low back pain and, these things. You're starting with pelvic tilts on the table and, clamshells and bridges and external rotation, internal rotation for the shoulder. So we're starting with that rehab mindset. An ACL, you're going to start with quad sets and you're going to start with assisted heel slides. And that's all that real, like basic rehab stuff.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would with my hip replacements and my knee replacements if I worked in a place like this with the equipment, the barbells, the dumbbells, the leg extension thing. I would have my patients on there. In the physical therapy clinics that I've worked, we didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have a barbell with plates. We had a dumbbell set up to 50 pounds. We had a cable machine. But we can take people so far, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Even with our high school athletes, with our ACL program, I can get them to like return to sport testing. But after that, and I was talking to Joe about this Tuesday, we have to hand them to the trainers at school because I don't have all this space for them to run. I don't have heavy weights for them to do trap bar deadlifts. You know what I mean? I don't have that stuff, and they need that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're in that setting, your rehab brain maybe stops there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like you've gotten
I know what you need, but I don't have it. So I need to either send you to back to school to the trainers there, or I need to send you to a gym and recommend a personal trainer, or I mean, I would send people like, this is what I want you to do at the gym, but then I'm not there to make sure you're doing it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am seeing more of the fitness forward PTs, but they're generally not working with this in the corporate, you know, the big names around here. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They went more
They
private.
went private, and they're working out of gyms like this. They're working out of CrossFit gyms. They've got access to all
That's
that
a
stuff.
great place to be a physical therapist.
I mean, they've got access to this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, some of them, my friend Kush takes insurance, and Joe takes insurance, but Jerry doesn't take
And Jerry's
insurance.
cash-based.
Yeah, another friend, they're cash-based. So they're not going to get, unless the people have a lot of money, they're not going to get directly post-surgical. You know what I mean? They're going to get the people that I want that next step after, I'm done with rehab PT. But I
Yeah.
still want to see a PT,
Yeah.
but I'm going to go cash-based.
And I think he also gets, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but people who are almost like historically maybe how people have used chiropractics is I'm not quite ready to go full into like, gotta meet my doctor and now I gotta do this and deal with insurance. It's more so, hey, what can I do? Right? How can I get a bit more
But then you get the
pain-free,
diagnosis
functional?
when you go to a PT,
Yes,
which is
you still
wonderful,
get that.
right? So
Absolutely.
what's wrong with my ankle? Okay, you've got Achilles tendinopathy, so this is what we're going to do. I predict it's going to be, 10 visits, 8 visits,
Yeah.
So
Well, that brings up a good point. I'd be curious to get your feedback on this as with your background as a PTA. So Jerry and even Dr. Joe, I've seen this, right? They're both pretty busy. And don't always adhere to that classic paradigm of like 3-4 times a week coming to the physical therapy clinic, right? It's more so, hey, let's find that one or two things that, not one or two, but several, that small little bag of tools that are going to be the most effective for you. Let's work at it and reassess over time. That's kind of how I've observed them to work. So and to your point about Jerry being cash based, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a harder sell to say $100 plus an hour 4 times a week, 3 times a week, right? So, but it's working for him to kind of have it be more, hey, here's the plan, follow it. Let's figure out when we're going to reassess, right? So probably having experience with both sides of that, what's that sweet spot?
So you're going to notice a difference between post-surgical and like injury, okay? And then you're also, I think if you're going to go to a cash-based PT, you've got to have some ownership, right? If Jerry's going to see you once a week, or you're going to see Jerry once a week, you got to do some stuff on your own.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to do, and then when you go see Jerry, he can make sure you're doing things correctly. He can do any manual therapy, any, instrument assisted stuff. He does cupping, he does dry needling. He's got all the kind of tools in his tool bag. And then check your progress and make sure things are going okay. If you're a rotator cuff repair, you need to come to PT 3 times a week because you're passive range of motion for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And you can't do that on your own, right?
Yeah.
You need a
That makes
PT,
sense.
PTA to be, stretching your shoulder, make sure that stays healthy.
Yeah.
So, but once you get past that, then you can do that combo like what Joe does, or the thing I think if you're going to go the route of not going, well, actually, either way, you got to have some ownership of your own.
No matter what.
Your own,
no
either
matter what it is.
rehab or fitness. Like I'm gonna make more progress if I come to the gym on the days I don't see Josh.
Yeah.
And you notice a difference. Like
Absolutely.
Josh notices a difference. When I'm working on stuff on my own. But if you and Josh made me laugh when you were talking about like the creatine and the other kind of stuff. It's like you can't just be chugging creatine and expect to like be like this muscly
I'm
person.
jacked.
Yeah, you gotta actually do a little bit of work at the gym too.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I would talk to my patients, they're like, I'm not getting any better. What are you doing your home exercise program?
Yeah.
No.
No.
That could be
Shocker.
why. Yeah. So there's some patients where they would come in and you're like, you know what? I really think you can come once or twice a week, and I think we'll be done like in 4 weeks. I think you're going to be great.
Yeah.
And then it depends on their insurance plans. There
Yeah.
are some really awful insurance plans out there that you get 20 visits a year,
Yeah.
whether you've sprained your ankle, which actually ankle sprains are hard to rehab, or you have ACL. I had a patient who had meniscus repair, 20 visits. That's all she got. It's yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a whole nother podcast about insurance. But yeah, so I think it depends on the diagnosis, like what your goals are, and you can come 3 times a week, you can come once a week, but
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying is if you are in the situation where you're post surgery or you're dealing with something where you're really injured, right, quite significantly, there's a lot of trauma, and you are dealing with more manual hands-on therapy, more passive range of
more
motion,
pain
basically
and
where
more pain too.
you
Yeah.
need the therapist with hands on you in some way, shape, or form. That's where there's that benefit to higher frequency. Whereas if you're into that next phase of an injury where, yeah, you're injured, but it's time to start putting some work in,
Yes.
right? That's when you don't necessarily need that hands-on,
Yeah.
that at
Or
that
if you're
level.
not a self-motivator, then
Or if you're-
yes, and your insurance is going to pay for it, come and see me 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause
have that.
that's the only time they do their exercise.
Yeah, I have that conversation with new training clients. I mean, sometimes people are like, "Well, how many times a week?" And I say, "Well, I mean, you're going to see it. A gold standard for strength training is try at least hitting each major muscle group twice a week as a minimum, right? Now, whether or not you want to do that one with us, one on your own, well, first off, there's that initial phase of just become proficient,
Yeah.
right? But once you're past that, it's really more a matter of preference. Are you going to be the person to do these things on your own or not?
Yeah.
And if you're not, then okay.
Yeah.
But to your point, whether or not you're doing 3 times a week, twice a week, whatever, all of these things, whether it's physical therapy, personal training, it's a partnership, right? You're going to get the best experience working with a physical therapist if you are taking some ownership, you are asking some questions, you are doing the things. And hey, if there's something that doesn't jive with you, give that feedback, right? I remember saying to Jerry once, he's like, "Hey, you should probably do this like 2-3 times a day." I said, "That's not happening." I said, "I'm going to do it once a day. So can I see results doing it once a day?" He goes, "Yeah, but," and I'm
You'll
like, "No."
see more
I'm
if
like,
you do it 3
I'm like, "No."
times.
I'm like, "No, but
Yeah.
this is what I can do."
Yeah.
Right? And that's where, again, and I think maybe that's that's an important point, because sometimes if people don't speak up and advocate for themselves, they have this mindset that it's black and white, right? I either follow this, what I perceive as like a very intense, time-consuming protocol, or I don't see results. And it's like, well, no, speak up, right? If you've been having hard time doing your physical therapy exercises daily or every other day or twice a day, speak up. Talk to your physical therapist about it, as opposed to just keeping it to yourself or lying, right? Yeah, I've been doing them, just because you don't want to have that awkward conversation. No, I would, correct me if I'm wrong, I would probably guess that most physical therapists would like to hear you give your honest feedback about your experience. And that's where we can get that back and forth and really fine tune what's going to work best for them.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I think you're going to have such a cool experience being with your background as a physical therapy assistant and having these hands-on experiences dealing with these issues and having the certified personal trainer side of it. I'm so excited for you. So is there anything in particular that you're like right now, like you're just daydreaming about and itching to get into?
Well, yes, but then there's also that underlying terror of I'm going to be starting my own business. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And where am I going to find clients? And yeah, that whole thing. But I'm just excited to find people. So I told you I was with some friends over the weekend, and I'm
Yeah.
they're like, well, who are you going to work with? And I said, well, mainly I think I want to work with women of a certain age. And they're like, well, how are you going to not work with men? I'm like, well, I mean, of course I could work with men, but I think if this is my passion, then that's where I'm going to kind of focus my search for clients,
Yeah.
right? And not that I don't have a passion for anybody getting into resistance training, but if I see the benefit of, I think it's the combination of this is cool and it's good for you and you should do it, and also that you can do this. Like, you don't have to be scared to go to the gym. You don't have to be intimidated to go to the gym. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at you. You think they are, they're not looking at you. And you and I are a team. This is like, I got you. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna do this,
Yeah.
and you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. I love
It's
that.
gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about, is to just kind of hopefully be able to share my excitement and passion about it, and that it's kind of contagious for other people, other women. Yeah.
I can see it. I love that little, you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
Maybe that's gonna be your tagline.
Yeah, right.
So if you had to say, as we wrap things up here, because we're running out of time, to put you on the spot here, if you had to say, you had this underlying theme of it's never too late, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your message to wrap things up here to people who are maybe thinking it is too late, or maybe I am a woman with menopause or osteoporosis, or I am afraid to go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in pain, etc. What
Yeah.
do you have to say to them?
Find yourself a qualified person, do your research, and, well, what were we talking about before we even came in here? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's right.
So what will it hurt?
Michael Stark?
Michael,
Wayne Gretzky?
yeah, who knows? What will it hurt to just give it a try? Like,
Yeah.
let's try it for, give me 2-3 weeks. Give me 4 weeks, and let's see. And if you don't see a difference, if you don't feel good, if you don't feel different, if you don't feel more confident, all right. At least we tried.
At least we
We
tried.
tried. But like, why not? Why not use this
Why not?
if we're talking? Why not? If we're talking about women of a certain age at this point of their lives, like, it's not an ending. This is, right? If you're 50, if you're 45, and you can, knock wood, live a healthy life to 80 or beyond, that's like 30 years. Why
life,
would you
basically.
not want to have them be amazing? So it's not too late.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's where we got to end it, because
Yeah.
that's powerful. Gave me a little chills. Yeah, but seriously, I'm so excited for you, and it'll be fun to have you back on. Maybe sometime in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your license and you've got your experience, and then you'll be on the other side of it. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun to hear that side of it
Hopefully, yeah.
too. You will.
Okay.
Not hopefully. You got this.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.